Ariel Helwani for mmarated.com with Big John McCarthy. John, it's been, I guess, 6 months or so since you hung up that famous black shirt and black pants. You ever get that itch to get back into the octagon or ring or wherever?
Oh, absolutely. I loved what I did, and it was a matter just. It was time for me to try to do something else within the sport because I was kind of stuck where I was at, and to be the referee was great, but I was kind of stuck with doing more than like one promotion than a lot of them, and it was time to expand and go and try to work on expanding the sport more than just the one promotion. And so that's why I decided to do what I've done. It doesn't mean I won't go back. That is a possibility and stuff, and I love the refereeing, and someday I've had a lot of offers, and someday I'll say yes to one of them and start doing it again.
Obviously, you're working now for the Fight Network based out of Canada. Was the reason why you left refereeing because you felt it was a conflict of interest to do analysis on television and things like that, and also referee, or was there another reason behind it?
Well, that was what was brought up, it was Nevada actually where we're at, that was the one that said they thought it was a conflict of interest, and I said, okay, fine, I'll step away from it. Do I really think it's a conflict of interest? No, I don't. Because referees they know the fighters, and everything kind of goes back to boxing, and there was always a problem. There was a problem in boxing, so they always go back to it. But MMA is different, and I talk about fighters all the time, and when you go in and you're going to do a match and you're going to referee it, I never cared. Didn't matter at all who won the match. That doesn't matter to me. It just matters that the fighters can come in, do their job, do it to the best of their ability, and that I do the right thing that I'm supposed to do. And whoever wins, that's their business. And that would never change. And, I've had a lot of commissions come and say, you know what, we will license you. We want you to, work for us. And I'm just trying to right now stick with, the broadcasting, and because I am young at it, and I'm learning all the time, and it takes a lot. It's a lot more than people think to do. And so I've just decided that I was going to put the refereeing on hold for a while, and then I might come back and do it again. You never know.
Are you surprised with how difficult the world of broadcasting can be?
It's all about preparation. It's very similar to refereeing and stuff. There's a lot of preparation if you're going to do it right. And there's a lot of preparation if you're going to be a referee. You want to be able to, know who's the people are that you're going to be, in there with. You want to know what they do, what they're good at, maybe what they're not really good at. It's going to help you in making decisions. And it's the same thing you're doing in broadcasting. You need to know, about these guys. If you haven't seen them before, you're going to have to find out things. You're going to have to go talk to the guys, what they've been doing to, prepare themselves for the fights. There's a lot of background that you want to have. So when you have that person come into the ring, you have something to say about them that, the average person doesn't know, and you have some insight into what they're trying to do when they're in the ring.
All right, there's been a lot of controversy in terms of refereeing the last couple of months, or a couple of weeks actually, in the world of mixed martial arts. Let me quickly run off a checklist, okay? Kimbo sliced James Thompson. Good finish or bad finish?
That's opinions. And Dan Miragliotta did a good job with the fight. A lot of people have gotten on him, and would I have done different? Yeah, I would have. It would have been a different fight, I'd look at a fight differently, and I tell the fighters how I'm going to look at the fight. There were times, Dan got James Thompson up off of Kimbo at one point when he was in side control. I wouldn't have done that. He's gained a dominant position. I'm not going to take that position away from him. But, a lot of people complain that Dan didn't stop it in the second round, and when James was on top of him and hitting him with elbows, and they're sitting there saying he hit him with, 16, 20 unanswered elbows. Yeah, a lot of it has to do with the damage that's being created. Both guys were gassed. And since both guys were gassed, there wasn't a whole lot of power behind them. And so I can understand why Dan didn't stop it. And Kimbo was giving him a thumbs up saying, I'm okay. And so, I totally understand it. It's an opinion. He's looking at it saying he's not being damaged. I'm not going to stop the fight. The end result, it's very difficult to stop, a guy, when you look at him on his feet in MMA. It's different than boxing a lot of times. But Dan felt that, James had enough and got hurt. I look at it, he'd been hurt a couple times in the fight and come back and taken Kimbo down, and I would have tried to at least give him that opportunity to do that.
Do you think that's the biggest flaw in MMA right now, the fact that it could be so subjective as to when to stop a bout? In boxing, you have the 10 count, it's just a lot more cut and dry in boxing as opposed to MMA. Would you agree with that?
Well, it's more cut and dry because there's time issues that help the referee make decisions. And if you can't have those same time considerations in MMA. It's a different sport. You have to do things different. And the one thing that people don't look at and they don't understand is if you're Dan Miragliotta and you're in that ring, you know what, you're responsible for both of those guys. And there's a whole lot of pressure that comes with that. And the last thing that Dan wants is for James Thompson to get hit with a shot after he looks at it and says, you know, this guy's hurt, and you know what, I don't think he can go anymore, I'm going to let him go, and then he gets hit with shots that end up causing him a serious injury and affects his life for the rest of his life, or even takes his life. You don't want to be the referee that was in that ring and had the ability to stop the fight and then didn't. And so anytime we talk about refereeing, if we're going to err, we always want to err on the side of safety, because we want that fighter to be able to come back and fight again.
Did you reach out to Dan, because he had a pretty bad week there with that fight and then the Verdum-Vera fight? Did you offer him any support afterwards?
I haven't talked to Dan at all about it. That's, he hurt his shoulder, I know, and he's getting surgery on that, and that was in the fight before the Kimbo fight. So I mean, he has had it rough, and the only thing you can do is you go out and you do what you think is right, and if you got to be honest about it. You always look back at tape, look at what you did, and be honest with yourself. If you made a mistake, you say, you know what, I made a mistake there. If you didn't, you say, you know what, I hear what everyone's saying, but I know I was right in what I did.
Okay, final question. If you were a betting man, if you were to offer me some advice on what to bet, should I bet that Big John McCarthy is going to return to refereeing at some point in the next couple of years? Because I think we need you, man. I think we need you back in there. No disrespect to the guys, but I think we need your presence there.
Well, thank you. You know what? Somewhere along the way, yeah, I would say the odds are I'll be back like a bad case of the flu or something, but yeah, somewhere along the way I'll probably be back, but there is that chance that it may never happen. And it all depends on circumstances, and we'll see what happens.
All right, thanks a lot, Big John, and continued success broadcasting, refereeing, whatever. Thanks. We love watching you do your work.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.